this raises the question, we're going back to the moon, or at least we're attempting to, and, NASA, European Space Agency, they obviously have more information about anything than we do.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that they know more than we do? And if so, do we think that they're keeping it from us?
It's hard not to think so. I mean, to me, having stumbled on this, I look at that and I see a glaring potential techno-signature in academic papers. And yet we're being told that NASA and the other private industries and some of these other projects are now looking for alien techno-signatures. They're scouring the universe for techno-signatures, right? But this is now, it's big news lately. And in fact, just this week, more papers came, about the list of things, where we could look for aliens and all this stuff. And yet there in their own papers, there's this mystery of an object made of 80% silica parking itself in orbit at the time that the first Homo sapiens, the archaic Homo sapiens were forming, and a whole load of other strange stuff was happening. And that if it can't occur to these leading edge thinkers that this is essentially, at the very least, worth following up if you're looking for techno-signatures. Have something that is breaking the norms in that large objects typically, if they head towards us, they hit us, or they are accelerated past us. We don't tend to capture, as far as I know, I looked into this, the consensus seems to be that it's almost impossible for Earth to capture large bodies as small moons. Right? Yes, some car-sized objects and like that, but it takes something as massive as Jupiter or Saturn to really capture comets and large asteroids. So what is this object? How is it parking itself in orbit? Why is it made of 80% silica versus all other bodies that we've detected with a maximum of 60? That to me is the glaring indications of a possible alien techno-signature. Now, I don't have a lab and things to go back over that, retest it with that in mind, but they do. And so there is a bit of me that thinks, well, if you know that everything you've thrown at this leaves it as an anomaly, and your two camps of scientists have waged war for decades and cannot explain it, right? At what point do you say, should we take the view that this could be a AI silica network of the type we are theorizing extraterrestrials will have, that they would explore? Again, this isn't my theory. I don't come up with it. And they're telling us they think most of these civilizations will roam space in giant silica networks, in some cases moon-sized objects, because of the processing ability of something like that just being super intelligences, godlike super intelligences, moons made of silica. You think on that scale, this is the kind of thing they're theorizing. And now you've got something that's like 2 kilometers across, made of mostly of silica, parking itself in orbit. Now, doesn't it seem to you that somebody in the whole of NASA and in all of these leading edge figures, somebody would say, should we look at this as a possible techno-signature?
Yeah, why do you think that they're so, we've only recently found some scientists who are willing to even say that these things are a possibility,
Mm-hmm.
And that implication either to me is that we have some seriously closed-minded scientists, which I find it hard to believe because that's kind of contrary to being a scientist.
It is, yeah.
Or we're being wrangled on some level where they think, like Brookings report, like we're all going to freak out or something like that. They have just started to entertain the possibility publicly, and even then it is just an incredibly small amount of them. It makes me wonder just why keep it from us.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a combination of issues. I do think that there's some dissemination, a slowed dissemination of information. In the same way that in the last few weeks and the last few months, we've seen the UFO topic being transformed into something socially acceptable to discuss. And that, now that the government are being asked to share UFO research with us, and, the military are saying that there's a possible threat, that is a subject being transformed in a kind of drip kind of fashion. Indeed, in this week, in terms of, so I write about genetic engineering. Now we're being shown, they're doing experiments showing that how you can create the human brain in a primate through genetic engineering, another topic, obviously. But I feel that there's some degree of dissemination. I don't think that, I have found something that nobody else has ever found. That's my instinct, is that I have not found something that nobody else has ever found. That what I have found is something that is probably known by a number of scientists and officials, and that they are gradually finding ways to put this out there. and that we're slowly being told that, yes, we should look for technosignatures, first far away, and then we're told maybe we'll look for technosignatures in our solar system. And then we're told that genetic engineering, oh yes, you could engineer a species. We're almost being prepped for the story that I've got in the book, in a way, which in an odd way, very odd way. In fact, topics that are in there, which I keep in mind, the book was submitted, in April last year, and now, all the news, retroviruses and gene drives and all these things which I talk about, they're all in the news. UFO topic, and I discuss about why SETI have blindness to this topic, and again, a lot of those issues are coming up. There's a team over in Spain, led by I think Dr. De La Torre, and he writes about this thing called the cosmic gorilla effect. Now, this is essentially an experiment they did where they found that if you put a load of academics into a situation to look for an anomaly in an image, and in this case they used a gorilla on a planetary surface, that they found that the people that had the very logical, structured kind of minds of typical academics, right, compared to artistic thinkers, that they were the ones who usually missed the anomalies. And that's kind of funny. They found that it was the more intuitive, artistic thinkers that would find these anomalies. And so I think there is a degree of blindness that is happening in these academics, that they are missing the anomalies. And that is worrying in respect, because you remember, we're trusting that these are the people, these science-based scientists are the people looking for the anomaly. How do you find an alien civilization if you can't see anomalies? Because they are going to be an anomaly. Everything about them is going to be anomalous for us, right? We assume that. You should assume that. So now, if these turn out to be the worst people for looking for anomalies, that's an additional element here. I think that there's probably a lot of people who genuinely do not know about this, in space sciences, and are looking, but have these blindness issues. And then, of course, you have, on the other side, I do think there must be some people that have at least looked into this Australite mystery with a different view. I mean, it just, to me, it's too extraordinary that you'd have, with all your best minds thrown at it and knowing that it remains anomalous, that nobody in the whole of NASA has said, could this be an alien technology of some sort?